afternoon. It's time for Midday Live. I'm Wendy Laya. Top stories for this afternoon. Despite several calls on pedestrians to desist from indiscriminately crossing the N1 highway, the situation still persists. And we move to the flying front now. Fresh-led troops consolidate position in the historic Malian city of Timbuktu after seizing it from Islamist extremists. So I've got details of these stories and many others making the bulletin this afternoon. But remember, you can always get interactive with me on Facebook and Twitter. It's News on TV through your short code 1734. Details shortly. Now we have the stories in detail. I start with our first headline story. And despite several calls on pedestrians to desist from indiscriminately crossing the N1 highway, the situation still persists. Portions of the median railing have been removed by miscreants, making it easier for pedestrians to cross, risking their lives in the process.
At La Paz, some pedestrians still ignore the zebra crossing and scale the metal railings. Parts of the railings and wire mesh were removed to perhaps enable pedestrians gain easy access to the stations at direct opposite sides. Unlike La Paz, residents at Flattop made use of the footbridge. The wire mesh was rather intact. At Dimples roundabout, the metal fencing had also been destroyed. That of the Achimota overhead was no different.
Now to other stories. To suffer from leprosy in some communities in the northern region is a plight that could lead to rejection. Listowel Akwe reports the collapse of the only leprosarium in the region has curtailed the hope of those affected.
Inkanchina number 2 is a community 7 miles to the east of the Pandai district in the northern region. The community has been a settlement for people affected with leprosy for over 50 years, the chronic disease which affects the nerves and skin. Victims can become blind, lose sensations in their hands and feet, and become prone to a disability through the threat of injury if not treated. The only leprosarium in the northern region, formerly operated by missionaries and some Canadian expats, has been abandoned. There are no drains in the community, and the bad road networks in the area are not starred. Structures like the maternity, labor ward, typing pool, accounts office, and bungalows meant to house health personnel lay wasting away.
All this was donated from donors abroad. You see the gas cooker, we see the operating theatre, the table, the light and others when we need these in various hospitals, and they're just left to ruin, doors falling down, windows falling out, all sorts. You know, it makes you so sad that how can this happen in Ghana? Are we not responsible for what donations have come to us?
MS, they have not stayed for long simply because of the problem of electricity and water. It continues. If I leave, another person is also going to face the same problem. Nobody even comes this way. If we had support from anywhere, we would have made these doors and fixed, but we don't have any support.
To use the bill.
Ibe Daniel's parents suffered from leprosy. He has lived all 26 years of his life in the Inkanchina facility and the only teacher in the community.
I have surrounding villages and they should benefit from those hospitals. They're just because now when there's labor case in the night, we have to rush them to Pandai town. And there's no light. We use torchlight. Sometimes there's motorbikes. That's what we use in this village. Our father, when they came here, they gave birth to us. We grew up to some extent. We have to struggle on our own. There was no support. It's not that we are seeing support from the government, the district assembly.
Some facilities, including operation theatre, lamps, beds, file cabinets, maternity beds, and office desks, were deteriorating. The medical assistant at the center said the place needs to be revamped to serve its purpose productively. The facility is heavily infested with excreta from vampire bats.
We have about 14 communities that we serve with this health facility. appealing to the government to, as a matter of agency, come in and then do something. At least renovate the place. And then if the place is renovated with lights and water, I think this place is going to be a place of excellence.
From the northern region, we move to the western region, and inhabitants of the Amping refugee camp have appealed to government, the UN Refugee Agency and other international donors to help improve education, infrastructure and welfare conditions of residents there. Sandra Marco reports children in the camp are unable to further their education after completing junior high school because of the absence of a senior high school in the camp.
The Amping refugee camp is populated with about 4,700 Ivorians who fled post-election violence in that country 2 years ago. Government helped establish the camp for displaced men, women and children. Camp manager Kelly Forson explained sanitation and other health-related conditions in the camp are in good shape. However, fumigating the camp from insects has become crucial.
Beyond the net, I will want to make a special appeal that we do some fumigation exercise in the camp to ensure that these flies, who normally are found in the bushes around us, when the place is sprayed, is reduce their prevalence rate in the community.
Kelly Forson explained the major challenge of the camp was the absence of a senior high school. Here, most children who are able to successfully pass their basic education certificate examination at the Amping Refugee Camp Junior High School are unable to further their education. The news team were presented with the results of 2 students who had passed their BEC creditably but were still unable to further their studies. Kelly Forson appealed to government and international organizations to help improve educational infrastructure for the camp.
The Supreme Court is sitting on the case in which lawyers of President Mahama and the Electoral Commission are requesting 3 leading members of the NPP challenging the 2012 election results to furnish them with particulars on their petition. The respondents to the petition filed a motion praying the Supreme Court to direct the petitioners to furnish them with particulars of polling stations the alleged irregularities took place. The motion, which was filed on the President's behalf on January 22, 2013, further urges the court to order the petitioners to state the number of votes cast in favor of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo in the said polling stations and/or constituencies, as well as the total number of polling stations and/or constituencies where votes cast in favor of President Mahama were alleged to have been illegally padded. In some more news this afternoon, Parliament's Appointments Committee has laid its report on the first batch of 7 ministerial nominees it vetted. The nominees are Hannah Tete, Minister Designate for Foreign Affairs Ministry, Setekbe Minister Designate for the Finance Ministry, Alhaji Suleiman Amidu, Roads and Highways, Inus Hussaini, who is to head the Lands and Natural Resources, as well as Alhaji Collins Dauda, Minister Designate for what
transpired in the next or in the past 3 minutes or so. I'll be briefing you what went on today in Parliament. President Mahama earlier did communicate to the House through the Speaker of the House that he is out of the country. Of course, we know all that. He went to Turkey and he went to AU for a meeting, and he'll be back today, that is 29th of January. Again, the Speaker of the House communicated to members that they have been change of names to certain ministries, including the Ministry of Women and Children Affairs, that is now Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. The Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning now is Ministry of Finance. Now, the Ministry of Information has been changed to Ministry of Information and Media Relations. These are the names of ministries that has been communicated to the House by the President. Again, at the floor of the House, members congratulated the Black Stars for their victorious encounter yesterday against the Niger team. Now, the member of Echima Mponua Isaac Asiama was the one who raised the matter at the floor of the House. I'm being joined by the MP for Efija Sechere East, Honorable Henrik David Yabua, to shed some light on Black Stars' victory and what he makes of yesterday's victory.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think Black Stars, we all love them. Anytime they start every game, it's very slow for them. But as the game progresses, the momentum picks up. So the entire Ghanaian community are behind them with unity. We're all in unity behind them, and I know that they are going to bring the ultimate cup home. We pray so that those who are injured, they will come back and then help them. Since the strikers are now, striking, making it possible for us, we know that the next game, Samoajan and others are going to put in more goals, and Black Stars will win the ultimate card.
Right, so it means that you are confident that the Black Stars will be making to the final?
Definitely, I'm sure they will bring the cup home, and we pray for them so that they bring the ultimate cup home.
All right, thank you very much. That was Honorable Henrik David Yabua, MP for Efija Sechere East, and he was commenting on a matter that was raised at the floor of the House regarding the performance of the Black Stars. I will quickly shift my attention to a very pressing issue that went on at the floor of the House regarding some vetted ministers. That is, the appointment committee of the House was charged to vet 7 members who are going to be ministers of state, and the House, or the report was reported or presented to the House by the chairman of the committee, Ebo Batinudro. But what happened was that copies were not available, and that the House has been suspended for 1 hour to make copies available to other members of the committee, just to ensure that they get copies so that the debate can start. But we are getting information from the minority that they will not partake in the discussion or the debate because of their court case. They are continuing their boycott, and they will not be part of the discussion. Even though they will be seated in the chamber, we understand they will be tight-lipped. I'm being joined by a member of the vetting committee, or the appointment committee of Parliament, Honorable Dr. Alhassan Yakubu, who is also the MP for Mion, to get his take or a sense of what has really transpired. The minority likely to boycott the debate on 7 vetted members. What do you make of this latest action by the minority?
Well, it will be very unfortunate if they do, because I believe there are teeming supporters out there in the constituencies and in the country at large are looking for their contribution towards the governance system of this country. And so if they boycott the debate that will soon be having on the president's nominee as ministers of state, it will be most unfortunate and to be seriously unbecoming of the people who have invested their hope and aspirations in members of parliament in the MPP party, and then they letting them down as a result.
Now, do you anticipate that, there have been several calls by various civil society groups, including even some members from your side, saying that it takes away some beauty when it comes to vetting and they are not part. Do you still stand by your point that there is the need for them to rescind their decision and get back on the drawing board with you guys?
Yes, absolutely. Democracy thrives. The beauty of democracy is diversity in opinion, and that what the outcomes are much better if the diversity is very much enriched. And so
taken out or deciding as a minority group to stay away from a debate to put the governance structure of the country in place. An important building block such as getting the president's cabinet in place would be most unfortunate, because the color and the beauty of that type of system will be taken out. And so I will still urge our colleagues on the minority side to relax, to get their leader to relax the whip, so that they can come back and do the citizens of this country some good by contributing to the setting up of the government. Indeed, their absence may not necessarily slow down the process, but I think that the richness of the debates and the diversity that is needed and opinions that would have been added to enrich the debate will definitely be missing, and that will be most unfortunate.
All right, thank you very much. That has been our report here from Parliament House. The minority has indicated that even though they will be in the chamber, they will not participate in the debate that will seek to approve 7 ministers designate who were vetted by the Appointments Committee of Parliament. I have one other MP with me who will share his thoughts on this latest development. He will tell me his name and his constituency. And quickly, what are your impressions about this latest development by the minority?
First of all, my name is Kwame Abuja. I am the MP for Adaklu constituency. I think it's very disappointing. I just heard you say that my colleagues from the minority side are saying they will sit in the chamber but not participate in the debate. It's just like a teacher being paid to go and teach, and then he goes to the class and says, I won't open my mouth. You haven't fulfilled a part of the process. But you see, what NPP is doing right now basically beats my imagination. This is a party that believes in rule of law. We have the president being sworn in by the Chief Justice, the Chief Justice herself, which means that if you have any problem and you go to court, you are going back to the Chief Justice. Not until the Chief Justice changes her mind that maybe the process that she's undertaking is wrong. I think it is in place to believe that we have a president of the country and the country must move on until that time. So for them to boycott these things and other things, I think it's unfortunate. I would urge them to come back to the chamber, join the debate, so that this democracy that we are growing grows even stronger. But that notwithstanding, it's their democratic right to participate or not. I think their absence would not stop the wheels of government. I believe the people of Adaklu are expecting that the promises upon which NDC is elected, they are waiting for that promise in the constituency, whether NPP comes to parliament or not. So we just have to urge the government to continue the process and deliver to the people of Ghana. That is more important than finding out if an individual is coming to parliament or not. After all, when I was being elected as a member of parliament, my constituent didn't know who else was going to join me. So they expect me to do my job. And I urge other people in other constituencies, especially those constituencies where the NPP candidates are and are boycotting their constituents, to ask them questions. We sent you there to go and do things that will bring development to their area. Now that you say you will not participate, what is your use in parliament? I believe that's what the question must be.
Thank you very much. That is the point of the NP. Now we will say that we are ending here, and we'll be handing over to you at the studio to continue. But the news here is that the minority will be in the chamber of the House, but then would not participate in the process that will seek to approve 7 members of parliament who have been or 7 ministers of state designate who were vetted during the week by the appointment committee of this same House.
All right, so thank you very much, Edward Kwabi, and he brought us an update on what took place on the floor of Parliament today. We have some other stories, and we move straight to the Ashanti region, where fire has swept through dozens of wood shops at Angola, a popular wood village in the Kumasi metropolis. Several property running into thousands of cedis got destroyed by the blaze, which lasted several hours. The blaze was reported at around 10 a.m. Monday morning. Victims could not tell the cause. Dozens of wood shops were reduced to ashes as the fire raged on to other parts of the wood village. And adjoining shop owners watched in total disbelief as several property were being destroyed. Others had put in attempts which proved futile to bring the blaze under control. And one of the eyewitnesses, or someone who did have a shop that got burnt, told the news team he had lost some 500,000 Ghana cedis worth of property. And the Goma East District recorded a total of 22,655 malaria cases in 2012. This figure represents an increase over the 15,140 figure recorded in 2011. This was made known when the annual health review of the Goma East District was held at Goma Pomade in the Central Region.
An analysis of the figures indicates that the disease has been rising steadily, giving that a figure of 8,446 and 11,391 were recorded in 2009 and 2010 respectively. However, malaria in under 5 children went down from 31.7% to 30.4% in 2009 and 2010 respectively, whilst in 2011 the figure increased from 31.2% to 32.3% in 2012. The Gomwa East District Malaria Control Officer, George Suman, disclosed measures being put in place to curb the menace.
There are other diseases that also predict the same signs and symptoms of this malaria case that we have. So a disease like typhoid, we have fever and other things. But some, if the person comes to the facility and looking at the clinical signs and symptoms, in the absence of laboratory to confirm the case, in the absence of RDT to confirm the case, we will classify it clinically as malaria.
The Gomwa East District Director of Health Services, Wilberforce Adade, noted that Gomwa East is the most populated district in the Central Region, hence the need to increase the number of health facilities. District Disease Control Officer Benjamin Datson mentioned inadequate staff accommodation and lack of a proper district health insurance office. The Central Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Samuel Kwashi, cautioned nurses to abide by the rules of the profession. The district has 2 private hospitals, 5 health centers, and 6 CHIPS compounds.
More on health, but to the Eastern Region, and the medical director of the Regional Central Hospital in Koforidua, Dr. Enim Boama, has commended government for the promise to build a new ultra-modern regional hospital. And he noted while waiting for the project to begin, he would be much grateful if the present facilities at the hospital are rehabilitated to quickly offer quality health care to the increasing clients to seek health care.
Established in the early 1970s, the management of the Koforidua Regional Hospital rely on internally generated funds to rehabilitate part of the facility when in dire need. Outpatients department OPD attendance increased from 6,463 in 2011 to 11,257 in 2012. Top 3 of 10 top cases of OPD attendance include acute eye infection, malaria and hypertension, while stroke, HIV/AIDS and anemia were top 3 causes of death in 2012. The medical director at the hospital, Dr. Enim Boama, was worried the public was not observing basic hygienic practices. He acknowledged the impressive turnout of patients on the insurance ratio and appealed for the refurbishment of the facility to a modern one.
While waiting for this new hospital to be built, we wish to appeal to individuals and organizations to help us to renovate our existing wards to make them befit a place of excellence so that our patients will derive optimum care.
The Eastern Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Magdamian Dejo, urged the staff and management of the hospital to work hard as a team to deliver on its mandate.
I want every worker to appreciate the fact that we are all part of the review process in order to improve on the outcome of our health delivery system, because we all contribute to produce the quality health care that our people deserve.
The caretaker Eastern Regional Minister, lauded the hospital management for improving services offered at the facility and pledged government's commitment to deliver on its promise of building a new regional hospital.
Patient might raise his or her voice at staff. It is your duty as a citizen and a public servant who has been so engaged by the state to provide that service. We will build one, state-of-the-art hospital for you.
Okay, so thank you very much, Wendy Laye, for all those details you brought us on the local front. It's time for us to do business. My name is Kweku Timin, and we're starting with some agric business. Interesting details coming up from the international community as the international development experts believe ECOWAS sub-region is making a headway in the agriculture, though a lot more focus on increased productivity is going to help them. Now, they advise all government stakeholders and all key players to effectively ensure agriculture becomes the engine of economic growth with food security through regional trade.
West Africa has abundant natural and human resources, yet remains one of the poorest regions in the world. According to a USAID West Africa fact sheet, poverty is concentrated on rural areas with chronic undernutrition and food availability core challenges. The focus for development partners and the ECOWAS regional bloc is improving food security through regional trade. Speaking to TV3, the ECOWAS Commissioner for Agriculture, Environment and Water Resources, Dr. Mark Atuga, admitted although the latter has been overlooked, there can be a direction of change.
We're still facing food insecurity in some part of the region every year. And we believe that by trade, we can solve some of these problems. The ECOWAS Commission, through its member states, have taken some measures a long time ago. And yet, we still feel that, people are not abiding by the rules. What we want to draw is the attention of the public to these such things, that we have to abide by the rules so that we can improve trade in West Africa.
On the issues of regional trade, he was confident it can be improved and worked at.
People don't know that the rules exist. How are they going to play by those rules? Once the measures are taken at the regional level, we expect our medias to sensitize, to inform the public about the rules. And yet these things are not being done by the media. We would like to draw their attention to that. Second, we would like to draw the attention to the regional organization, the civil society, about their role they should play. They are the ones to be vocal. They are the ones to tell it as it is.
ECOWAS and the USAID are organizing a 3-day conference from 29th to 31st January 2013, themed Food Across Borders, Improving Food Security Through Regional Trade in West Africa.
We try by putting the right people in the room together, and hopefully private sector will raise their issues associated with trade to government representatives and the ECOWAS representatives, and hopefully the governments will then take it up, rise to the challenge, and will commit themselves to taking some steps to make things better. They'll listen, they'll hear the challenges that private sector is facing, and they'll act on it.
The USAID investing $150,000 is hopeful the conference will help the ECOWAS regional mandate to improve regional trade and food security.
All right, so very shortly away from the agri sector, let's look at the transport sector, as transport workers have been urged to prioritize organizational skills and strengthen capacity of union members to help influence international trade and development issues. Effective organization, according to the Secretary General Kofi Asamoah, that's the Secretary General of the Trades Union Congress, Kofi Asamoah, is a measure to put unions in the forefront of advocacy.
A two-day stakeholder meeting of transport workers within the West Africa sub-region have been convened in Accra. The meeting is organized by the International Transport Workers Federation with a view of assessing progress in activities of transport operations within the region.
One of the aim also is to see how we can engage the ECOWAS and other organizations at the sub-regional level, because we know that many decisions are now taken at the sub-regional and international level, where transport workers are not always represented. So we want to be there and to voice the transport worker concern and also contribution.
He noted with keen interest how the transport sector in Ghana is contributing positively to the local economy, but was worried negligence on the part of drivers continues to threaten the safety of commuters. The General Secretary of the Trade Union Congress, Kofi Asamoah, asked trade unions to place premium on effective organization in order to strengthen union capacity and build strong union power.
Unions must either organize or die. We must organize not only to avoid extinction, but more importantly to ensure that we remain relevant to our members.
Well, so after the midday news, our roads would lead down to 4:30, where we'll bring you a biz brief, and that's the commitment. We'll be talking about the forex market, enjoying some commodity news. But do stay with us. All the details on AFCON. Joella Champon is coming through shortly with all those details.
Stage of the competition, but joining me in the studio this afternoon to look at a review and also preview today's games, James Oyedeji, our usual guest who joins us on the AFCON 2013. Welcome, sir.
Good afternoon.
Were you impressed with the performance yesterday, and were you expecting that number of goals from the Black Stars?
Oh, the second question has already been answered here in this powerful studio. I picked 4 teams, if you remember very well.
Yeah.
The host nation, South Africa, Ghana Black Stars, Ivory Coast, and then Nigeria. So we are yet to see whether Nigeria will fulfill my arrangement or my prophecies by the end of today. Now, whether I was impressed with the Stars' performance is an understatement. I was really impressed. This is the first time I'm seeing the Ghana Black Stars play like the Black Stars of old, attacking football, flair, interpositional passes, good changes, good exchanges, runs on the flank. You saw the first goal, Aduma to the captain on the right side, on the left side from the captain to Achu. And Achu, like you've been playing, he had a very good afternoon. I wasn't surprised at all when he was made man of the match. In fact, any ordinary player, including me in my days, would have fell down and attracted the sympathy of the referee to get the penalty. But he stood on his right foot, the stronger one, and used the weaker one, which was off balance, to score that second goal.
You did say that Zambia is not going to progress to through the group stages. I was surprised when you said that, because I was thinking Zambia was really coming out to defend the title. If they don't, then they will be joining the likes of those who couldn't defend the titles when they won it.
And the likes, you have many. You see, history is a very important subject. Only few nations have defended the cup successfully. I think Ghana 63-65. Which other countries? Almost immediately you pick that cup, there are some forces that would like to snatch the cup from you for another country.
African forces.
Not African forces. Endogenous and exogenous factors. You either use the old wine or use the new wine. I don't know why Keshi continues to use, excuse me to say, please forgive me for using this, jinxed players like Victor Nyama in goal. 6 times Cup of Nations, you have not won the cup. Joseph Yobo, captain, 6 times you have not won the cup. So what is your mission there? You have to give room, like Yobo didn't play, then this boy played Ambrose. Victor Nyama is in goal. He considered 1 goal every match. Ejide should have been imposed. You understand? Victor Moses is a new start. He has an injury. Yeah. You work on him. Musa is a new star. You leave him in the team, and so on and so forth. So when you mix up these 2 forces, you get what you call it, recurrent. What's the name in physics? So like a cyclone. Yes. But when you now use a crop of new boys, then they don't have a general. Are you following me? They are all equal. There's no egoism. There's nothing. They play as equal and then they help one another. That's what Ghana did in 1965 when CKJ Finana used only Ado Damite. You are shaking your head. You don't know. Excuse me. I'm enjoying this program myself. When they use a whole set of new players, students, Jones Atukofio, Visitan Udoi, Salami, they were all at Salem, St. John's Grammar, and all those boys. They went the World Cup. So now we are talking of reality. Yeah. Ethiopia is the least ranked in the tournament at 105 by FIFA. And Nigeria is ranked very, very higher than them. So I don't see why they should compromise their position, their status, and then fail to win today's match. Fortunately, Megari, the FFF, the Nigeria Football Federation chairman, announced yesterday that Guinness Nigeria Limited has a earmarked $5,000 per goal. So I don't see why they should allow this $5,000 to pass them by.
Okay, Mr. Oyedeji. I mean, thank you very much. And what's your prediction? Burkina Faso taking on Zambia and Nigeria playing Ethiopia in that game.
The irony of the Burkina team is that Dakete is the regular goalkeeper. When Suleimana went on a French leave, now he's bereaved on behalf of yourself and everybody. We wish him what do you call it? Condolence. Yes. Dakete is in pole. And so we saw what he did against the other team that they won 4 against Ethiopia. So today I expect them to maintain a clean slate. He should maintain a clean slate, get a draw, and they will be in the quarterfinal.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Oyedeji. We've been looking at the preview of today's games that we'll be playing. Remember, TV3 will be bringing you live the game between Nigeria and Ethiopia, and the kickoff is at 5 p.m. Join Eloya Monday, Ibautri and Neil Datilante in the studios here at 4:30. And also El Clasico, the first leg of the Copa del Rey, is tomorrow. We'll be bringing you all the previews later. My name is Joel Champon. Thanks for joining me here on the sports segment on Midday Live.